Good morning everybody, Dan here with nowherefastEverywherecool.com, coming to you from beautiful Hertfordshire, England. It's a lovely, lovely sunny day today, so I thought I'd take some time to go through the tools that we carry on our 2017 Ural gear up. This pile of tools you see in front of you comes from internet research, it comes from experience, and it comes from trial and error. So I just wanted to share this with everybody just to kind of give you a bit of an idea of what we carry. I've only been riding for about 4.5 years. In that time, Sam and I, we had a Triumph Tiger 800 XC that we had kitted out for camping and traveling. We did a fair amount of traveling kind of up in the west of Canada into the northwest of the States. About 26,000 kilometers in total before we sold that bike and bought our 2017 Ural gear up. We've also done a little bit of traveling abroad, so we rented a BMW 650 and traveled from Tuscany to Rome over the course of 7 days. And it was a fantastic trip, we really enjoyed that. We, for about 5 weeks, we had a little Honda 125 that we rode around in Costa Rica, just touring around between towns there. That thing had a busted fuel tap valve, so I had to run it in reserve all the time, so you never knew how much gas was in it. It was quite fun. And when we were in Bali, we actually rented a scooter for a couple of weeks and toured around as much as we could on that as well. So we love riding bikes wherever we can, and obviously when you ride bikes wherever you can, things happen, and you hope that you have what you need in order to repair and be self-sufficient. With this particular bike, Sassy here, she's been good to us for the most part, but we have had some issues over time, and so that's kind of where this all comes from, and so I thought I'd share that with everybody. We've done about 15,000 kilometers now. All right, without any further ado, let's get at it here. So this is the stuff that I carry in the trunk. I've got a fairly heavy-duty knife here, a air pump from a bike, just in case my electric one doesn't work for some reason. And this is a lot smaller than the one that they provide to you from Ural, so it's nice, it just fits. These all just kind of fit in the base of the trunk, out of the way. I've got a handsaw here that I use mostly in North America when we're camping and traveling there. It's nice to have. And then of course I've got a little hatchet here that doubles as a hammer if I need it. Little axle and assembly grease. The Ural touch-up paints, just in case we get a rock chip. We don't want anything to rust, so it's nice to have these along with you, black and gray. Little lock thread, or Loctite. Some grip glue, handy for all kinds of things, including grips. A little bit of gear oil, obviously to top up the rear end, but it's also a good thing to have for the little padlocks and so forth. They do tend to dry out and they don't work as well, so I just put a little drop every now and again to keep the locks lubricated and working well. This little chunk of wood here, I've cut a notch out of the top of it, and it fits perfectly under the side axle for this, or the axle for the sidecar. You just kind of tilt the sidecar up onto it, and it gives you a couple inches to do any work you need to on the sidecar wheel. Little chunk of hose, handy thing to have if you're doing any brake work, just make sure you don't get any bubbles in the lines. A couple of rags, obviously, keep your hands clean, check the oil, that sort of thing. I've got a Gerber plier multi-tool that I carry. These are the thickness gauges to do the checks on the valves. So obviously check the valves every 3,000 to 5,000 depending on what you're comfortable with. Thickness gauge for gapping my spark plugs. This is, I carry an assortment of sockets, and if you look on the website we actually have them all listed out for you. Anyway, this is a 12 mil that I use for the tappet covers. It's much better than just using the wrench. I found that tightening any of the main nuts for, let's say, the engine mounts, the sidecar mounts, that sort of thing, it's nice to have a deep socket 19 millimeter to be able to get in there. It's hard to do it with the wrenches, so just to have this deep socket is a nice thing to have. So these are a couple things that I've purchased separately to do maintenance on this bike. Obviously a spark plug socket as well. In this little kit here, it's just basically a fishing kit that I picked up from Canadian Tire back in Canada, and it's handy. It's got all kinds of little nuts and bolts and that sort of thing in it. Carry this little thing around. We use it on the beach, or if I need to crawl under the bike or whatever. It's a nice padded blanket that just sits in the base of the trunk as well, so it's kind of a nice thing to have. Spare bulbs for every position, fuses, 10s and 15s, some cotter pins, that sort of thing is in here. Washers, nuts and bolts, all the nuts and bolts that I used in order to attach the Pelican cases to the bike, and any of the kind of modifications that I've done. I carry a few extras just in case something comes off. Some more nuts and bolts here. Hose clamps, screw style hose clamps. I just have them all kind of put together here right now, but very good for putting back fuel lines together and different things. When it comes from the factory, it comes with the permanent clips, so if you need to cut one of those off, it's good to have these. What else have I got here? A little bit of ready strapping. So this is looks like this. Handy stuff to have around if you gotta, let's say something breaks and you gotta wrap it around, and then I got some bolts, put it back together, keep everything so you don't lose it again. A couple of chunks of wire just in case I have a wire break and I need to put something back together, or a chunk of wire falls off or something like that. A couple more light bulbs, and I got a halogen for the front. A couple extra spark plugs in here. These ones are used ones, but they don't have too many miles on them. I just put some new ones on the last time I did my service. A couple of little chunks of wire, looped wire, and some zip ties in there, some Velcro. Obviously a couple of extensions for the socket, all the sockets that I have. Just a little bit of electrical tape. I've got a couple little rolls here. Some little buckles that I keep in here for jackets and that sort of thing. Self-locking buckles. Zip ties, every different size. I've actually got some really heavy-duty ones inside the toolkit here. A little bit of the sealant. So I've used these seals around the ammo cans and around the top box on the back of the bike. So I just have a little chunk just in case something gets ripped or broken. The stop and go mini air compressor that I carry, this thing works like a hot damn, so good thing to have with you. The pressure gauge on it is a little bit, it's not quite as accurate, and it's not very convenient to pull it out every time you want to check the pressure on the tire. So I have a small pressure gauge that works very, very well. This is the one that I use the most. Little ratchet. Flexible oil funnel. I found this back in Canada before I left, and works really well. So just extends out and gives you the angles that you need in order to be able to fill the bike with oil. No problems, no drips, no stress. So it's great. I carry around a bunch of just drying towels and cleaning cloths. You'll get up in the morning, you go out to the bike, it's covered in dew. It's kind of a cathartic thing to do. Just kind of go over it, give it a wipe down. The other nice thing about that is it gives you the time to kind of check over welds, make sure there's no missing nuts or bolts or things that are loose. So you take that time to go over the bike on a daily basis. It's a good thing. Always carry the owner's manual. In fact, in the owner's manual I've made notes of different things that I've learned along the way. When we were in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence, we went to Classic Bike Esprit to get a full tune-up done. And what ended up happening is Neil there was such a gracious host. He actually allowed me to do most of the work and just kind of supervise. So it was a fantastic learning experience. If you get a chance to go into Classic Bike Esprit at Saint-Rémy-de-Provence, fantastic people. Neil and Sarah, wonderful, wonderful people. I carry a couple of heavy-duty bike tubes, 2 spares in case I'm not able to patch them up and make them work. Tire levers, of course. I have changed the rubber on the bike and rotated tires around. Before I left Canada, I took the spare tire rubber and put it to the drive wheel. Switched them around. There was still enough rubber on the drive wheel at that time to keep it as a spare. And then just this last week or so, I took the rear rubber and the sidecar wheel and just rotated the rubber on those two. So I am able to change tires in about half an hour. Fuel spout for the jerry can. I carry a little ruler just in case I got to measure something. I guess I've never actually used that, but it just fits in there. It's nice and small. A little bit of gasket maker so I can fix the valve covers or any of the other gaskets on the engine go. It's also good because it's silicone, so I could potentially use it to stick something on the bike if I needed to. Handy thing to have. This is the Ural Tool Kit. I have made a couple of additions to that. I added a set of vice grips, needle nose vice grips actually, handy thing to have. The 13mm wrench that comes with this particular unit, I ended up breaking it, taking the rear end apart. So I don't know if you can see this on the video, but it's actually cracked. There's still a good 12mm here, that's why I haven't thrown it out. But what I did do is I went and I bought a combination wrench, spanner, whatever you want to call it, so that now I know I'm not going to break this one. And it's got a little more leverage because it's a little bit longer than the one that comes with the Ural kit. I carry spare brake pads for every position on the bike. I found in the 15,000 kilometers that we've put on this bike that the rear tire, the drive tire brake pads go first, the sidecar tires go second, and the front tire is the last one that you'll need to replace, so they'll last the longest. I almost forgot about the secret compartment under the seat. Easy to access. Underneath here we keep 3 different of these expandable little cargo nets to be used on various positions on the bike. If you're riding in the summer and you need to change out your clothes and you don't want to necessarily have to dig into a bag to put them away, these are nice things to have. I've got some ratchet straps as well, just in case we need them for a ferry ride, or I get stuck on the side of the road and somebody's trying to help us out and we need to strap the bike onto a trailer or something like that, so it'd be a good thing to have around. A vital little piece of kit that was actually a gift to me from a host family on a house sit that we did in south of France is a needle valve grease gun. This thing is fantastic. It's just this tiny little thing, and just hook this into the end, pressurizes, and I can do all of the grease fittings on the bike for the universal joints, so it's a really great thing to have. Some extra shoelaces for our hiking boots, a couple of Velcro straps, some different colored electrical tape, another rag, toe warmers. These are for Sam in the sidecar in case she needs them to put into her mitts or whatnot. Another roll of electrical tape. Then I have a bag that I keep with some small little ratchet style straps, or not ratchet, I guess, they'd just be self-tightening. Can of spray lubricant, silicone lubricant for all of the rubber joints on here, like the shock absorbers where they connect to the frame, and just for general lubrication. So all good things to have. Handy little compartment to put them into. Really, that's about it. That's what we carry, and that's what we found that we need when we're touring around. Well, I just want to say thank you for watching this video, and for following us on our YouTube channel, for following us on our website and on Instagram. We're doing our best to keep everybody updated on what we're up to, where we are. All right, take care and keep on traveling.